The last few weeks, I've had a lot of conversations with moms, young moms, who have expressed their concern about not having their estate plan done and not having a guardianship in place for their children. They know they need these documents done. They know they need a guardianship in place, but there's something that's holding them back. One of the things that kept coming up, or kind of a recurring theme, was that they can't decide who to be the guardian. One of the people I talked to, and this is actually the case with a lot of people, they and their spouse are actually at odds over who to name. One spouse wants this person, one spouse wants this person, and they're not budging. Neither one of them are budging. Others are like, well, we don't know. It's hard to decide who will take that place and who will be the person that will step in our shoes. Because I mean, it's a big decision. I mean, these are your kids that you are going to entrust and put in someone else's hands. So you want to make the right decision, but you want to make a decision. You have to move and make the decision. And this is the thing I told all of these moms, and I stress the importance of doing the hard thing. This is what I said. You need to do the hard thing now so that your children don't have to go through the hard thing later. And here's what I mean. It may be difficult for you now to think through, number one, I'm not going to be here for my kids. If something happens to me, I won't be able to see them grow up. I won't be able to see them as they have their, first kiss, or they go on their first date or homecoming. I mean, all these things that we look forward to as parents, and even just the day-to-day things of them coming home from school, talking about their day, um, making them get up and do whatever, all those little things that we take for granted as parents. If we're not here to see those things, we start getting upset over that thought, and it makes it hard for us to think and to do the hard thing of making that estate plan and naming someone as the guardian. So that may be one issue. The other issue is just trying to hash out with your spouse who's going to be that person to take care of our kids if this unthinkable thing happens to us. So, as hard as that is right now to think about and work through and do and budge and negotiate, you need to do it, because if you don't, and you both pass away and your children, you don't have the guardianship in place, a judge has to decide who those kids are going to go to. And they may go to someone you didn't want to be considered, even. I mean, neither one of you want that person considered. But because of whoever they are and the case they put forward, the judge may say, this is what's in their best interest. So, and and in that process, let me just before I move forward, let me just talk about that process. I have seen grandparents go to battle over children in a situation like this, where neither parent, for whatever reason, one is deceased, maybe one of them is in jail. So the grandparents have to step in and fight over who's going to take care of these children, who's going to raise these kids. And what ends up happening is the grandparents are at odds and they're fighting, and it can get nasty and ugly. And guess who is right in the middle of it? Your children. They're being tugged from one side to the other, and that is not fair for them. They are grieving you. They have lost their parents. The last thing they need is to see their grandparents at war over who will raise them. And the last thing they need is to be put in the middle of that and lose contact with one grandparent or the other. Because what inevitably happens is, through that bitter process of that custody battle, people get angry, they get mad, and sometimes relationships are cut off. And you may have one grandparent who badmouths the other grandparent. You get the kids in the middle who are just trying to please either one. I mean, it just can get chaotic for the kids. It can get stressful for the kids, but it's so incredibly heartbreaking. And they're the ones you need to be thinking about. So you need to do the hard thing as the parent now, so that your kids don't have to go through the hard thing if something terrible happens to you and your spouse. So if I can get you to do nothing else but give that thought, what is it that I've got to do now as the parent so that my kids don't go through literal hell if something both happens to both of their parents? I'm Tanya Hendricks, Huntsville estate planning lawyer. You can reach me at 256-361-1221, and I'll be happy to walk through this guardianship process with you and kind of talk through who will be the best person to raise your kids. I can't make that decision for you, but I can go through some of your options. We can weigh the pros and cons of each of those and just really get down to who do we need to name as the person or people to take care of our kids if the terrible thing happens to us. Tanya Hendricks, Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer. You can reach me at 256-361-1221 or go to my website at huntsvilleestateplanningslawyers.com. That's huntsvilleestateplanningslawyers.com. Again, I'm Tanya Hendricks. Thank you very much.